Welcome back, everybody, to another live show. Not Tuesday night. It is a Wednesday night live show. It's our first one since the change, I realised, because obviously last week was the post-Origin show, which was a huge hit. So it was great to get involved and talk all things Origin straight away. It was firing line stuff. Me and Jesse were on cloud nine. Trav was full of praise, which I'm sure hurt him deep down inside. But he took it on the chin. He copped it. There's still a couple of games to go, obviously. But for us Blues fans, we are cheering at the moment. Hopefully, the new change allows a few more of you to come and jump on as well, get involved. And obviously, it works a little bit better, I think, moving forward in terms of storylines and news and things like that coming out midweek. And it gives us an extra 24 hours to just prepare and get some good talking points that we'll get hot and heavy with and go from there, basically. So very keen to get into all of this. Let's check in with the boys. First of all, sorry, the show we're doing at the moment, day one has just been done for the push-up challenge as well. I'll put a link on the story again. There was one in the page the other day, but if you can please donate, things like that. It does go a long way. It's for mental health, helping raise awareness, and some good causes for that as well. I think everyone, whether it's immediate impact or someone you know, we've all been touched by mental health in some way, shape, or form. It is very close to, I know, a lot of us here at the page, and we're going to get this done over the next, I think it's 4 weeks, basically, and we're going to be just smashing out the push-ups. They tell us how much to do each day, and we get it done. So very, very keen on that one. So let's rip in. Hello to everyone. Everyone's starting to come on board. Again, the more you guys get involved, the better the show will be. Let's go, Jakey boy. We haven't seen you for a little bit, it feels like. Who knows where you've been? I don't actually think I want to know. I'll save the viewers, but how's things been, brother? And then let us know what's caught your eye.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very sick at the moment. I don't know if you can hear in my voice. I don't sound fantastic. Oh, well, that's all right. That's good then. Yeah, this is what I normally sound like, I guess. But no, things have been pretty good other than that. You're gonna have to come back to me on what's caught my eye, because to be completely honest with you, I've come in unprepared. I've come in unprofessional.
Wow.
I've come in unprepared. I know. After all this time, I'm a bit rusty, you know. Yeah, I've struggled with
That's
this
a
one,
great start,
unfortunately.
considering you've been off for basically 2 weeks now of shows, and that is what you've started with. Oh, where's Jesse? You around, mate? Nah, it's all Trav. How are you, brother? 24 hours since we did the Supercoach show. Hope everyone's enjoying that one. But what caught your eye?
Going well, mate. Thank you for asking. Yeah, Supercoach show was a good one last night. It was a long one, but that first sort of 12 minutes was a beauty from a really good dude in Con, which is actually a bit of a segue into what caught my eye. And I'm not sure if it's caught other people's eyes, and I hope it has, because things are starting to happen in League of Inches, man. We've got a sponsor, a little local business called Erin Made It, who's now sponsoring our NRLW page, and yeah, it's going to have a logo on here, and I just thought I'd give her a bit of a shout out because that caught my eye, because it's awesome. It's brilliant to have a cash sponsor that's very keen to get right involved in it, and even more important and even better is it's a local little business.
Yeah, local business and helping support the NRLW side of things for the page, which we are very much growing at the moment and have put emphasis in that the last 12 months. I think everyone can see that, and the posts will be coming out from this week a lot more frequent as we warm into that season as well. So again, thank you to Erin out there, and for all your gift ideas, things like that, please support a local business like Trav was saying, and help support us. The more we can support our sponsors, the more they can give back and help us moving forward as well, which only helps you guys watching, better equipment, better everything, basically. So it'd be awesome to see there. Are you ready yet, Jake?
I'll give you a footy one, Joel.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to sit down and have half an hour to myself, and I was sitting on the couch with my wife last night and watched the Jake Duke interview with Joe Tarpany. Not sure if anyone has seen that. He's just done a recent interview on Fox, the Joe Tarpany. What a raw, engaging, emotional 30-minute interview that was. Can't recommend that to anyone else. And I know I'm pumping up Fox Sports, but at the end of the day, that's where we watch the footy. But that was an amazing interview, man. And to watch Joey Tarpany show such emotion and cry at a moment, I won't give it away why, but to see him cry like he did and then keep pushing through with his story, yeah, what a freaking awesome dude. I've got so much more admiration for that fella. And I haven't watched it. Jake, he did. I like him, but I didn't realize how good he was as an interview. Watching that interview, I'm very fond of him. I think he's done a really good job with that one.
About time that Jake actually represents the name well, which is great to see. I haven't caught the interview yet, but it's on my to-do list now. I have heard a number of great things today about it. I did see a bit of a little clip of things, but I didn't watch it because I do want to watch the whole interview and just get engaged with it and just feel it all. So very keen to get into that one. Jakey boy, have you ready yet?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm ready to go. So I found this one. This one's what I've looked it up. I found one for you just because, I know you like me to give you some real weird ones. So I've got another one here ready to rumble, and that is that a dachshund. All right. So a dachshund ran away from their family in the Australian bush and was found over a year later, 529 days later, alone in the Australian bush. They were found. They'd given up hope, and they have found this little dachshund named Valerie. So they found her, and she's back with her family. So I thought I'd give you something. You want the fresh, the weird news. I got you some weird news. I got another one for you.
What's the dog's name? Hang on, what's the dog's name?
Valerie.
Valerie. Oh, yeah. Why don't you come on over, back. Valerie? Why don't you come on home?
But I have another one for you, and I didn't think about this until just now. I have begun training again because I have stopped playing football for a long time, for a few years, and I'm potentially back in a week or so. I'm going to play. So there's something new that's happened.
You're playing footy?
Yeah, I'm back.
Well, Trav basically senior at Magic Round and basically I haven't seen someone go backwards so quickly. So that'll make things even worse. After calling you out the podcast before, this will be even worse. So I'll let you run at me still. I don't care. I'll take you down. Whatever. Well done, mate. Congrats. Yeah. You have to get some footage for us. I'll put it up and we can all judge what position you're going to be playing.
Probably in the centers. I don't have the fitness to play in the middle anymore.
Oh, all right. We've got a few questions coming in. I'll get to those questions after. I'll do mine. Actually, I'll get to the questions first, then do mine because mine sort of goes into our first sort of topic for the night. So just quickly, Shane O'Eel, Joe Ash to 6 thoughts. I don't mind it, to be honest. I did put a post out this week so far. I'd probably like to see Sandon Smith come over. I'm really keen for that signing, but I also think Joe Ash needs a spot in the starting 13, not just the bench, but starting 13 moving forward, especially into next year. He's a real talent, and if that's the way to do it, I'm not going to be against it either. Then we've got one more from Sarkis. Do you think the Panthers will make the 8? Trav? You're on mute again, mate. You've done yourself again.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to comment and do things in the chats to some people who ask questions, but so my bad. But no, I'm off. I'm off Panthers. I know they had a decent win on the weekend against the Para, but yeah, no, I'm no, I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Just to answer Shannon in the comments, I actually had a look. He has not been found, unfortunately. There's the update. Paul Wally has not been found yet.
Oh.
Sad.
Alan Marky Mark, is he rocks or diamonds? Who knows? Depends. As long as it's not a high ball from the opposition, he's good. He's diamonds. But if there's a high ball up, he's rocks, unfortunately. Brad Black, who'd win in a fight out of all you three? Well, I don't want to say too much here because I think we're all lovers, not fighters here. But look, the boys want to talk smack. I'll put them on their ass. Simple as that. And they know that. So don't step out of line.
Okay, no, I'm just going to let you talk because that's all you are. You're just all puff.
I'm with you there, Trav. That's all I've ever heard from him. Just talk. Just talk.
Alan, hang on.
He's
Alan,
just all puff and nothing but dust. That's literally all Joel is. If to be fair, and I'll give it credit, Jake is a big boy. Like he's a big boy.
Jake would have us.
Jake would beat us, but like Joel wouldn't even. Yeah, like literally to be like punching sand. It's
honest, Trav. We'd have to pair up, I reckon, at the start, like one of those old-fashioned 2-on-1s, and try and just get Jake down.
It'd be 100% like a WWE all-in.
Is this like
us two against Jake? Like... We'd get Jake, and then I'd win because Joel's got nothing left.
I just keep running.
I'd take you both on.
Look, what caught my eye this week, and it's come quite late. It's come in the last 24 hours, this has been making a bit of news out there. Oh, Alan, thank you. Can you start telling that to some people that I know, because everyone thinks I'm an asshole? Probably am, but anyway.
You are. It's true.
Yeah, I am. The Ezra Mam comments in the last 24 hours and the Reece Walsh, no surprise. They've got each other's back, have done for a while now. No coincidence, they've both been very poor with some of the decisions they've made in the last 6 or so months. But read the room. Honestly, read the room. Like, after what you've done, Ezra, to come out and try and have a sob story in a way, or try and put the blame elsewhere and take the heat off yourself after getting a few boos on the weekend. Sorry to say, but if you're not enjoying being booed at Brookvale, well, you're not going to like what's going to come at you over the rest of the year, coming into probably next year as well, at every stadium and some of those bigger stadiums as well, because there'll be imagine him when they verse the Dogs. There'll be a packed Dogs crowd there, and they will absolutely grill the shit out of him. So sick of it. I hate hearing it. And for Walsh to come out and criticize a radio host who sort of basically said about Mam that pull your head in type thing, which I absolutely agree with, to then come out and say comments like, "Oh, have you played the game before?" Like, I'm so over this sort of comeback. Have you played the game before? No. He also hasn't broken the law before and almost severely injured and stuff a young girl. So pull your heads in a bit. I think this is exactly why the Broncos are at where they're at, and this puts us into the Power Up segment, thanks to Vital Man Supplements. Michael Witt is the owner of that business, guys, the ex-NRL player. Please, if you do need any little bit of a hit to get you going, or natural things like that, please go ahead, contact Vital Man. Use our code as well. Get you 10% off. The Brisbane Broncos, boys. Where to for the Brisbane Broncos? Who's at fault? Like, it's a pretty wide-ranging question, really, because there's a few avenues we can go down and dig into here. They've been in the news non-stop, I know, lately. We haven't really got to say much on it because obviously last week we did more of an origin sort of style as well show. So we didn't talk any NRL really last week. So we've had to wait till Wednesday this week to unpack a few of these things. Trav, I'll go to you first. Where are you at the moment with the Broncos? Where are you pointing the finger at?
I don't have one. I can't say one particular reason why the Broncos are like they are. But I'm going to say that the majority or the most is the players. It's on them. So, at the end of the day, and we all know that this is what happened. Kevin Walters got pushed out last year because the players didn't like him. He was too soft. The club didn't like that he was too soft. Culturally, there was issues around how he would allow, so much prancy footing around, I suppose, is probably the in-app or the apt way to say what they were doing. And Walters was all for that. They came out and they said, no, so we need to get a hard-nosed guy. They did everything they could. They got Madge. And now they're all talking around how much they don't like Madge, or, that's not predominantly what's being said, like as in that's not out there, but we all know that that's what's being said. That's what's being leaked. They don't like the hard nose of Madge, and they've gone down. So at the end of the day, who does that clearly stick to? It sticks to the players. It's as simple as that. the players here are like Hollywood A-listers in Brisbane. That's what they like, right? That's what they are. So they walk around like they are, and they don't like being told what to do, and they don't like anything otherwise. And then I was going to lead then back onto that. They said then before that, they said Seabolt was too much and too complicated. The game plan was too hard to understand. And so within this process, that's where they've got, and that's where they're sitting. So to aptly answer your question straight up, it's the players, I think, is the majority, but I've got a few. So I don't know if I'm allowed to keep going here, or do you want to just me to answer that one question and then let you guys go and then jump in later?
Yep, let's just go broad discussion, I reckon, because I think, as you said, there's a number of things to be raised here. Jake, let's get your initial thoughts. Where's your finger getting pointed?
Oh, my finger's getting pointed to the players. I mean, look, there was obviously a culture issue last year under Kevy Walters. And so then, like they blamed Kev, and so they pushed him out. They've gone, right, sweet, Madge is our answer. At some point, the finger has to get pointed at the players on the field. Okay, we did have this conversation of, we had the conversation at the start of the season of, Madge, is he going to basically come in and he's going to be real hard style, and it's either going to really, really work and they're going to like buy into it and go from there, or it's not going to work at all. They're going to hate him, and it feels like the latter is happening at the moment. So I just think at the same time, grow up. Like they're professional football players who get paid a lot of money. So even if it is like I don't like the coach thing, geez, he's been there for half a season so far. Like at some point it's like, you are the reason you're losing. The people on the field, you're the reason you're losing. That's as simple as that. He's not on the field doing the work. It's been half a year. He can't be expected to implement everything he wants to within 1 year. And that's just as simple as that.
Yeah, you're both spot on. And I find it quite funny here, just to raise this point before we go and dig a bit deeper into some of Trav's points and things like that. But I love how we can all sit here and say we're pointing the finger at the players. I'm not too sure how the media can come out, and majority of them at the moment are blaming Madge. Madge has come in there for a particular reason, and it's to the board and the club have identified that their players are probably had it pretty easy for a majority of their careers, especially the last couple of years. They haven't liked that. That's not what they want the Broncos to stand for. And I totally understand it. And Madge is basically trying to do what he's been employed to do. For mine, the Broncos are just not buying in, and that's the players. That is all down to the players. You can't sit there at the moment and say the Broncos are playing like a Madge style coach team. They're simply not. So I don't think they're playing to the game plan. The only two players that probably are on a week-to-week basis are, funnily enough, their two best players every week, which is Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan, are probably playing to the game plan to a T. I'm just very much questioning what's happening. And the other thing I don't like here, Gordon Tallis on NRL 360, it's very, very clear how close he is to Kevy Walters, which I'm more than happy to have your mates and stuff, all good. But I've just found some of the ways he has gone about when they've spoken about the Broncos the last few nights on NRL 360 is really poor. It's very, very biased, extremely biased towards Madge. And I'm just not sure how he can sit there on that panel where he's supposed to give good, honest sort of feedback. And I'm hoping take the bias away, which we love to try our best to do here, and give us exactly like the messages, and not just do it from a particular, and it's very clear, his point of view, which I just don't think is right at all. He would have Kevin Walters back in there every day of the week. But I digress. Trav, I'll let you go back to more of your points that you are talking about. I just think it's, as I said, it's very funny that we can all sit here and say it's the players. I don't know what Madge is supposed to do at the moment.
Oh, well, but the thing is, what did we expect of Madge? Like, to answer that, what was our expectation of what Madge would do? This is exactly what we thought Madge would do, right? He'd come in with his hard nose, try to play a defensive, have a defensive mindset, play through the middles, and off we go. Like, that's what we knew. That's what they're doing. Essentially, that's what they're doing. The problem is that the players just haven't really bought full blown into it because they're princesses. It's as simple as that. And they don't like being told. They want to be Hollywood A-listers, and the culture of the club is rubbish, which then leads into the organization and the management sides of things and what's happening there. Like Kevin Walters is an icon at that club. It's as simple as that, right? And the club got rid of him. That does not bode well. And it doesn't. And I get what Gordon Tallis is saying. And it leads into a point that we're doing and we're going to talk about soon about a whole different person. But I think it's something we can talk about then too. But like, I get what he's doing, and he's protecting a mate, but he's protecting an icon at the club that got treated like shit from the players. As simple as that. But then I'm going to look at some other bits and pieces of the organization. Had a really big moment, a really big key moment to stand on this behavior, and they didn't. And we can talk about Ezra Mam till the cows come home, literally, but they didn't. They didn't put a stamp on it, and Ezra Mam's been able to come out and do that. And therefore, what that shows is that the players have the run. So at the end of the day, the run of the mill is through the players, and so the culture hasn't changed, the game style doesn't change, the attitudes don't change. And so they're almost all as bad as each other. They all thought Madge could come in and save all this, but he's fighting a losing fight as soon as he walked in the door. Because as soon as he walked in the door, Ezra Mam did what he did. The club went out with that, and off they go. And then you hear the god awful comment that Reece Walsh comes out and says, like what you said just then, is that Joel, is that, well, you haven't stepped foot on the floor, on the field. What's that freaking got to do with anything? It's got nothing to do with anything. Like, literally all people are asking for is for Ezra Mam to show a little bit of remorse and a little bit of compassion for what he's done, and just own up and say, listen, I stuffed up. Like, I really made a massive mistake. It's as simple as that. But they didn't, and he doesn't. And so therefore the culture continues to roll around the cycle, and that's why the community keeps doing what they're doing. I can almost guarantee, and I'm speaking very largely, but if Mam just sat here and did an interview and did those interviews and turned up and said, I messed up, I did this, I did that, this is what happened, this is where it's at, the community wouldn't boo for very long. It's as simple as that. Like, we just wouldn't, because we own up to it. That's what we're like. We're, as Australians, we like people to be able to do it, but it doesn't. And so the point is, like, that's sort of digressing into it. But the point is that then continues this bubble that the Broncos players have of, I can do whatever the bloody hell I want. I'm never going to have any accountability, and no one's ever going to pull me up for it. So therefore, that aura and that persona can just keep going, and they can do whatever they want. And so that's where it's sitting. And I feel so sorry for Reynolds this week. He's played 300 games. Like, the fella's playing 300 games. That's a freaking milestone. That's a massive feat. And yet, in his interview and with what's happening, this is the rubbish that we're dealing with. And that's just the culture of the club at the moment. And I can't see that changing without a massive whitewash of players to be pushed out. I can then now touch back on different bits and pieces in terms of game style. We know full well that you play the way you train. I don't think I think the players are not wanting to put in. I don't think they're training very hard. I've actually gone past and done a few things and watched them at training. They muck around. Like, we talk around that they, not allowed to have shirts off and all that sort of stuff, but that doesn't stop some of the other sort of flair and bullshit that happens. And I'm not against that at all. And that doesn't make me sexist or racist or any of that sort of stuff. But I just think, when you're at this moment in time where the club is sitting, that's got to stop. You just got to buy in. It's just got to be all for one and one for all. That's a pretty poor saying, but it's what is that? That's Three Musketeers, right? But it is, and it's not. It's literally just one person. I'm my own self. I'm going to give some positives though. So you said Haas and Carrigan. I actually want to give kudos to Shibasaki. I think Shibasaki's been really good in the centres, and I think he's had a really good year. And I think Arthurs has done a really good job for what he's had to do. And so I think those two also deserve some kudos. And I also want to give some kudos to the start of the year when they were 4-1, because when they were 4-1, no one questioned anything about the Broncos, and they were premiership favourites. And in that period, Corey Pakes was a monster as the as the 9. So I want to give him some credit and some shout out too. There's been some positives there, but as a whole, yeah. Sorry, long-winded. My bad.
That's right. Before I throw back to Jake, I wasn't going to share this, but I thought I will because it does sort of go into sort of what you were saying. Now, after Monday night NRL 360, I've actually had a few chats here and there with Braithen Nasta. Love just talking some footy with him. He's a great bloke. Has every bit of time for me, which I really do appreciate. And I just couldn't help myself because it's been a huge talking point, and I didn't like how much they went in on Madge on Monday night. And I actually said that to him. I said it was pretty unfair. I'll just quickly read out what I said to him. I said I at the start I won't read what I said because I did say something about Gordy, so I don't want to go back there and open that can of worms. I said, however, I did want to say I'm surprised last night seemed to go so hard on Madge. I feel like the playing group needs to have a reality check, and to be fair, if I was the Broncos, a big name needs to go and shake the place up. Madge was signed to be a hard style coach. The players are still not reacting. Doesn't that show everyone it's more on the players than ever before? I also think the way they handled the Mam situation and then the Tapau situation speaks volumes of where the club is at. Mam should have been the moment the club turned the corner and showed the group they're not copying the show ponies anymore. And then I just said basically that, yeah, sorry, bit of a rant. But he did reply. I won't say he's replied, just obviously privacy, things like that. But yeah, it was I just think it all dates back to sort of that. And like people in the comments and stuff are saying he's too hard, Madge, it's not going to work, things like that. Trav, you rightly said from the start of this, when we opened this subject up, they've had 3 different styles of coaches now in the last 6, 7, 8 years. And not one of them have really worked. Yes, Kevy worked once, but even still, like those that keep trying to say Kevy was unfairly sacked, they made 1 final series in 4. I'm sorry, but for the Broncos, that is completely rubbish. They should be almost guaranteed top 8 each and every year. So 1 in 4 final series isn't successful at all, and Kevy simply needed to go. They made the right decision. Now they've got a hard style coach, which they need to do, and I just think they've stuffed this up from the get-go when Madge was appointed with the Mam situation. It dates back to there where they were so soft on him. I'll still say to this day they were extremely soft on his punishment. It should have been a sacking. It should have been easily a sackable offense. We've spoken about how the Dogs did it with Josh Adokar last year, and that shows you the Dogs' culture. Josh Adokar was one of the main players, the first players to sign at the Dogs, started this whole basically club culture that they currently have. He stuffed up once, and that was basically it. They said to Josh, this isn't our club culture anymore. Move on. Now, we've seen this year, he's killing it still. He's a very, very good player, but the Dogs wasn't going to stand for it. And this is where the Broncos should have had their line in the sand moment. We want to change as a club. We've got a hard style coach in now that we know what he's going to be like. We need to change with him, and this is it. And they didn't do it. And now for him to see that, he thinks he's got off basically scot-free. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Reece Walsh has continued with his recent comments where he thinks he owns the place and can do no wrong. It just sets a precedence that I just don't think the club can get themselves out of now because they started this so soft. Jake?
Yeah, look, I think you're right. I'm on the same side in the sense that I think that there's a rotting in the culture at the club, and that's you're right. I don't have much more to add in terms of. I do agree with the fact that they needed to go much harder on Ezra on the Ezra situation. Okay, and there's been other times where they've needed to go hard on players and they just never seem to. I fully agree with the whole Bulldogs comment. Like they sacked Adokar as soon as he did the wrong thing because they said that they would. That's the thing is if they had have gone back on their word and Phil kind of thing, same thing. If they had gone back on their word and gone, oh, he'll be okay, he'll stick around or whatever, then they're looking weak as a club. And then the same thing, their players just know that they can do whatever they want. The issue is more so that those big time players, your Ezra Mams, your Reece Walshes, those guys, right? It feels like if they can do all this and get away with it, then like even the younger guys coming up and coming through and things like that are going to go, well, if they can do it, then I mean, what's the difference? Why can't like that idea of it's rotting from the top, but that makes it also then like come up from the bottom as well. So it's kind of hitting both ways. I don't know. it's hard for me to kind of explain where I'm at. I think that it's just a softness in general. Like on the field, it's soft. Okay, other than the few players you mentioned, so like Carrigan, Haas, those types of players who are coming out every week and they're like trying their best to drag their team through it. Imagine any other team with that platform. Any other team with that platform that they lay, almost any other team in the comp is winning most of these games that they're winning. So you have to think it is not a matter of talent. We know that. Every one of us can agree that they have a top 4 side on paper, right? Can we all agree with that? Or at least,
I want to talk about
high top.
I want to talk about
okay, well, at least in my opinion, high top 8. Okay. So it isn't an issue with the team, like with the talent that they have, or the drive through the middle. The issue has to be mentality, and that's where we're trying to find. But yeah, I think it's across the park mentality. Other than like those, roughly 3, 4, 5 players I've mentioned who are doing well.
Yeah, and you're right. I feel so sorry at the moment for someone like Payne Haas, who is doing the complete opposite to what this piss poor culture is at this club at the moment. He's putting in, week out. Arguably, he's been, I wouldn't even say arguably, he's been their best player this year. And it would almost be by the length of the straight if there wasn't a guy called Carrigan there. He's just turned up every week, done his job. And we know his history. We know he's obviously family drama, stuff like that. For him to put all that aside, to turn up every week and to lay the platform he lays for this team, no other player in that team should have an excuse whatsoever. They should look at him in the dressing room and say, we've got Payne Haas in our team right now. He's turning up playing like he is every week. I need to pull my finger out of my ass and I need to get the job done. I actually hope right now that Payne Haas basically sticks his middle finger up at this club at the end of the year, takes another club's contract and tells the Broncos to shove it, because I think it's the slap in the face that this club desperately, desperately needs. And that will be the moment where I feel like they have to then go to the clubs, the playing group, and go, enough is enough. Because at the moment, if they lose Payne Haas, they are screwed, because Carrigan, as good as he is, he can't do this himself. He really can't do it himself. And they're struggling at the moment to do it between 2 of them. So if one of them go, they're done. For mine, they're done. You need a good forward platform to happen, and they're not getting it. So just because we're Payne Haas, Trav, can you see him at the moment going, or you think he's a Bronco for life?
I think he's a Bronco. Yeah. If the only thing that he might potentially want to go or leave is enormous money. Like, I'm talking enormous. I'm talking 1 point something money. Type of money. That's the only thing I'd see, because he's got, isn't both his parents in jail up here? He's looking after he's looking after the siblings.
He's adopted 2 of his brothers, I believe.
Yeah, so there's just too much for him to have to stay here. He's tied here. I think he likes it. Clearly he likes it here. He had other offers. He re-signed and did all those sorts of things. So I think he's just tied to this club. Unfortunately, that's just where it is for him. And he might love it. He's showing that he is. And go from there. I don't. I can't see him leaving. Maybe he goes to the Gold Coast, or he goes up to the Dolphins. But he stays in this area.
We need to move on. We can't have it a Broncos podcast. Unfortunately, there is so many to talk about. I just want to quickly go through, though, a point that Jake just made before and has been in the comments about this rep quality team and a top 4 team on paper. I've looked into this a bit more the last couple of days, and I've tried to do one of those little per position and analyze their players and see if they are as good as what they've been made out to be on paper at the moment. And what I've actually started to believe is their roster isn't anywhere near as good as what we keep continuing to say it is. I think there's a lot of players here that are going off their past form, not their current form of the last almost 2 years, or post the grand final, really. And that's really hurting the club. So Reece Walsh at fullback. We all know what Reece Walsh can produce when he's at his very best. Unfortunately, that hasn't been there for, let's say, since that Origin game 1, where he got absolutely whacked. That's done something to his confidence for sure. I think we can all agree on that. And he hasn't been the same player since. So, on paper, Reece Walsh is his superstar who can kill any defensive line when he's on his day, but he hasn't done that for a long, long time. I'll go to the backs as quickly as well, then I'll let you both comment on it. So on Cobbo, again, we all know that he can be a star. He's a great, great NRL winger. Could potentially be a fullback if he got his fitness right, his body right. Again, hasn't really lived up to too much and doesn't demand any of the high salary figures that he's apparently wanting at the moment. Jesse Arthur's on the other wing, doing fantastic. Can't doubt him whatsoever. Playing with heart, doing what he needs to do. Shibasaki, rightly like Trav said, think he's doing a great job. Probably one of their lowest paid players as well, and putting the Stars to shame, basically. Katoni Staggs, another one that's off contract, and I just feel like he has a good game every 10 and then goes missing. There's games where I just forget he's even on the field. And there's so many, like there's this stigma out there that he's this great quality center. I just don't see it enough. Like, I don't see, he should be up there with the likes of, in that bracket of probably just below the Crichtons, the Farnworths, the Euros, the Purdues when he just started there this year. Like, he should be in that sort of a bracket. But in mine, I just can never put him in there. There's always stuff or reasons why he's not there. Am I being too harsh on the back line so far, boys?
Yeah. Look, I think Brent sort of mentioned it before, missing that they have missed Walsh. And I will say, and you haven't got to just yet, but the Walsh Mam combination has not played very much. And especially since 2023, and that was a huge combination that helped get to the finals. Like, obviously Reynolds was huge for them, but yeah, I think you are being a little bit harsh. Katoni Staggs is what Katoni Staggs is. Like, we all know that he's a lockdown defensive guy. He's never really an offensive weapon. He doesn't really do that side of things. I think he offers what they need from him. Can he be better? Hell yes, he can be. But I think he is what he is. So I agree and I don't agree.
Jake, yeah, you're muted yourself as well. Well done. Seriously.
I think their backline is extremely strong. I don't agree with you on that one. Although in the same sentence, I'm about to hit you off with what you were just saying about Katoni Staggs. I do think defensively he's very, very, very solid. But I think you're right, Trav. At the moment, or the way he's been playing over the last even potentially year or so, he hasn't had what he had at one point. He had that dog in him. We all know that one highlight. We all know that one highlight where he just palmed off like someone to the shadow realm and then kept going, and he's run the whole length of score kind of thing. That was awesome. But I do agree with your point on Mam and Walsh not playing together, because I do think that's a very important one. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's stronger than you give it credit for, Joel, to be honest with you. I think that they're just not playing well.
But that's my whole point here. I'm not saying they're not on paper. This is my whole argument. They're strong. But when's the last time they've delivered? 2 years ago.
Oh, no, I'm fully
I'm not arguing that they're not strong. I'm not arguing that they're not a gun backline. Yeah, they are. I think most clubs would probably sign at least 3 out of 5 of those players in that backline. But for mine, they just don't do it anywhere near enough for what this club deserves a player to do. And that's, for mine, is culture. It just feels like most of these players, and I won't keep going through the list, but that's my sort of point that I'm trying to make here. So many of these players are just sitting back, feeling like they're Broncos players. It entitles them to something, yet very rarely, apart from a couple of names that we've mentioned, put in the effort which signifies you're a Bronco. And that's the whole problem and issue for you at this club. That on paper, we continue to say, yep, this player is great, this player is great. What, we're going to continue to talk about 2023 form for 3-4 years? Because it seems like they are.
Oh, they will. And that's the thing is, we made a grand final 2 years ago. Well, sorry. That's very quickly, and this is speaking as an Eels fan, considering what happened to us 2 years later, we got almost a spoon, right? I understand that there's a massive disparity between, cool, this happened 2 years ago, whatever, and it's a very similar pack and all that, but if you're not performing, that'll just go like that, and that's what's happening right now. We saw that they underperformed but still made the 8 last year. and it's just looking the exact same this year.
Yep. We've got to move on. Gus Gould, split roles. We've seen this in the media a lot last week, very contentious after the Lachlan Galvin signing. We haven't got a chance to talk about it yet again because we didn't get to do any sort of club podcast last week, or basically in the Origin Arena. We've only got to it now. So it's on the agenda tonight to talk about, because I think it is a really big talking point that deserves a bit of discussion around it. Basically, it's pretty straightforward. Do you think it's okay that he has this split role moving forward? Because I think we've seen in this Lockie Galvin situation, he denied it, but there was often times there where he either misled, lied, I know it's a strong word, or Gus is making that to be a very strong word, moved away and pushed everyone away from something. But then continually over the last 6 or 8 months, fed Lachlan Galvin that many compliments that you're questioning what was going on there. You're starting to go to the point where you're like he came out and said it's the best junior player he's ever seen. I know hands down, I can name about 5 players off the top of my head that he would have seen that is better than Lachlan Galvin, just off the top of my head. If I sat down and made a list and went through players, I'd probably end up making 20. And it just doesn't sit well with me that he's got the platform he does, yet is a key influential figure at a club, being the Bulldogs at this stage, and can dictate what he can do and play the media like he does. I think it's a huge advantage for the Bulldogs at the moment, and one that he takes advantage of a lot. He did the same thing with Leo Thompson. He came out on that show and said that he wasn't signing Leo Thompson, and then literally I think it was a week later, they signed Leo Thompson. So it just, and I get the game. You don't need to come out and say every single plan. Just come out and just say, then I'm not making a comment or something. Like, don't mislead and go down the path you do. Trav, where do you sit here with this whole Gus side of which fence he sits on, or which side of the fence I should say he sits on?
Gus is an incredibly intelligent man, and he plays the field like he needs to, and he's got the platform and the ability to do it. So let him do it. Like, as simple as that. There's no reason why he can't, because he can. There's no rules that stops him from doing it. Now, do I like it or not? No, I don't. I think the conflict of interest is garbage. I think that needs to change. I think if you go into those types of roles, you've got to then make a decision. You either that's your role and then that's what you do, or you say no and I'm going to stay here. So at the end of the day, Gus needed to have been told he cannot do his Channel 9 stuff. He needs to stay out of the commentary, needs to stay out of the analysis, and that's the end of story. I'll give you some other things, and this is what I was sort of alluding to it earlier. I also don't like the Braith Anasta job that he has. He's a player manager, yet he's the head of the wheel of NRL 360, and I don't like that. I think that's also a conflict of interest. I don't like that conversation. To be completely and utterly fair and open with my opinion, I think if you have that role, if you're a player manager, that's your role. Simple as that. If you are a CEO, that's your role. Simple as that. If you're, what's Gus's actual position?
GM.
The GM. So he's a general manager. Simple as that. They should not now have that commentary role. They should not be allowed to go anywhere with that. I think Brett, I just did say that about Braithen being a player manager, actually. Another example, and this is a completely different sport, but it's a big example that is starting to creep into what I think Gus Gould had is, I'm not sure if anyone knows Eddie Maguire. He was originally the president of the Collingwood Football Club, the biggest club in the AFL. He was also a massive commentator. He was a gameplay caller, but then he was also on a lot of commentary shows. And all the time he would push the agenda of Collingwood, and he was open about it. Like, it was these constant it's the same sort of stuff I'm seeing from that. I just think, to be fair, in all sports, in any minds, he should, if you take on those roles, you've got to sign a conflict of interest and you're out. I just don't think it gives a massive disadvantage to every other club with those bits and pieces. And it only has to be one or two times for it to actually hurt every club. At this point in time, I feel like he's done it twice. That's twice more than any other club's got an advantage of on two players that are pretty bloody good. This is not some rookie, dude who, they're pretty bloody good.
Yep. Jake, I'll let you go now. Just quickly, I'll say one more thing on that. And I think it is time the NRL starts to step up to this. I keep hearing how much of a powerful figure he is, how the NRL is basically scared of Gus. They won't do anything really. I think it's got to the point where they do need to start to, for the sake of the game and what the game stands for, you need to start getting on top of this because it can quickly just explode, and we don't want that. We really don't want that in this game, Jake.
As the great Jeff Tuvey once said, there has to be an investigation. Yeah, I was sitting there waiting for that one. No, so okay, here's my thoughts on that. So I think Gus obviously stroked Lockie Galvin's ego on live on TV. But at the same time, and as much as that is giving him an advantage and things along those lines, I'm fully agreeing with you on that. The way I see it as well is that specifically with the Lockie Galvin situation, okay, I think he had his choice kind of locked up. I know that there was everyone saying, he was going to go to Para and then he switched sort of last minute and things like that. If that is the case where he knew where he was going to go, if he changed his mind last minute, then the whole Gus Gould thing I don't think would have made a difference. But I from what I've heard a few little things about he knew where he was going to go nice and early, which makes me think that so that Gus Gould, being on TV and going, he's the best I've ever seen, like best player I've ever seen in my entire life, kind of thing, is absolutely rubbish. And the NRL should investigate it. There should be a genuine investigation as to whether there should be policies around being able to have those dual position jobs and things like that. And I agree with Trav. It should just be conflict of interest, done. You scratched, gone. I was gonna say I also don't rate Phil Gould. I know a lot of people think he's the smartest man in the NRL. I don't. He was smart in this case, but I don't rate him.
I don't know what you're basing that on. And
that's harsh.
Just small things over time. No evidence. Just pure. Just this.
Can't make calls like that and then have nothing to back it.
Yeah, sure I can. I don't like the guy. I don't owe him anything. It's all right.
You're right.
Yeah. We will see. I get what you're saying, Jake, in terms of I don't mind the fact that he's been speaking to Gal. I don't mind. I just don't like the fact he exploits that literally to millions of people on free-to-air television. He plays the game so well. We all know he's doing it, which means he knows more than anyone what he is doing. And I just hate the fact how it played out. It was, in my opinion, pretty disgraceful. As Brett has said in the comments, put the game into disrepute, and it just needs to be tackled, in my opinion. On the flip side of that, the Lockie Galvin signing in general, are we pretty good with this for the Bulldogs? Like in terms of what this does for the Bulldogs moving forward? Because I tell you what, I don't like this signing at all for the Dogs. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say anything bad about Galvin. I think Galvin is a fantastic player. I don't remember the last time first place mid-year has shaken up their roster like this team has just done. I think they've actually self-imploded with this signing, and they've now, from my opinion, 2 weeks ago, I thought they were genuine premiership contenders. I don't think they are anymore. I don't think they can win the comp. All I can see right now is Burton and Galvin clashing, being very similar styles of players. Sexton, he's done a lot. He's done a lot of the work that goes unnoticed, and I think that's going to affect a lot of people. And the fact is, if Burton starts cracking the shits, basically, what we're going to start seeing is that whole Bulldogs club, those players, will back Burton to the hill. So it's a huge, huge call. What happens here, I don't know. What happens with Burton's future, I don't know. And I'm surprised not much has been spoken about that yet, because I don't know if he will stay around, if his role is impacted at all, which I think it will. I don't think Galvin's a 7, to be fair with you. And there's players that have got the club to where they are at the moment, build up this culture, and now you've got this outsider coming in mid-year. For mine, it just doesn't sit well with me. I would have understood it for next year, but right now, I don't know. I'm a bit yuck with it. Jake?
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely don't like it. I think that look, I'm not saying he couldn't develop into a 7. I actually don't think that. I definitely think that he could develop into a 7, but for a team that's sitting first on the ladder and really pushing for a premiership this year, I don't know. It feels interesting to me that they would try to mess with this. And then, look, the only real way you asked at the beginning of this, like how it would work. I personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Marcelo Montoya necessarily as a player, so I would potentially shift Bronson Sherry out onto the wing where he sort of started, shift Matt Burton out to the centers, Toby Sexton stays in 7, and then put Gavin in the 6 is how I would do it. If it was me, like configuring the team based on the signing that they have, that's how I would do it. But in general, I don't like it. Like, they have something that's working. They've lost 2 games, and those 2 games that they have lost have been in the rain in terrible conditions that aren't typical of finals conditions. I don't know. I think you're right. I think they've self-imploded a little bit.
Trav, the Galvin signing to the Dogs, rate it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, love it. I think Gavin's a freak. He's a very good player. I think he's already shown within 18 months how bloody good he is. I think the way we're talking here and the way you guys are talking are understating how good that club is, how good Serrato is. I think we need to give some serious credit to what Serrato can do and how he can manage that club. There might be some unrest, but at the end of the day, this is the NRL. This is allowed to happen. It just doesn't happen very often, but we are calling for transfer periods and all sorts of things. So this looks like it's the lay of the land that's going to happen, and it's only going to become more. So we just got to get used to it. I don't have a problem with it. Do I think? Obviously, I've been very loud about how I think of this whole signing and what's happened here. But yeah, like in terms of if I just rate the player and what he's going to bring to that club, I love it. I'm very keen to see where this plays out. I think there's lots of different combinations he allows. There's a lot of movement that can happen. Yeah, I think also the Bulldogs went out and said, yeah, we're on top of the ladder, but we've had a couple of big losses, and there's a few reasons why we've had those losses, and we need to make some changes because whilst we're probably going to finish in the top 4, or at least if we're going to probably finish in the top 2, if not worse, top 4. We're probably not going to, with what we have, win a grand final. So let's try and make a move here to try and win that. I love it. All to them. Well done. I don't like how it went about, and I don't like what Galvin did about it, but all to them. They made that play. It's a big balls move, and they had to make it. I think that's what they've got to do.
Jake, you want to say something?
No. I like. The one thing I'll say that I do like about the signing, I suppose, is it doesn't actually throw anybody out immediately. So if they really wanted to, they could very easily just go, righto, Galvin. Who?
Sexton.
No. Give me a second. Let me cook. I'm still finishing off what I'm saying. Sorry. I mean in the sense that no one technically has to leave immediately, right? So it's not as if like his signing has immediately kicked out Sexton guaranteed, right?
Nope.
Potentially, if the Bulldogs wanted to, now that they have him for 3 years or 4 years or whatever it is, they could very easily go, right, over the rest of this season, because you signed us with us halfway through, you'll be in reserve grade. You already signed now. There's nothing you can do about it. You'll be in reserve grade for the rest of this season. If you wanted to, they could keep playing with the team as is. If they wanted to do that, they could. If it doesn't work out immediately, they go, right, this isn't working immediately. Let's get back to what we had for the rest of the season, and we'll bring you in. You're our reserve, and then we'll bring you in next season, do a preseason with you. They've got him signed, so they could do that if they wanted to. That's the one sort of advantage I think that I'm seeing from signing him right now.
Yeah, I just got to go back to the fact that I don't think signing Galvin right this minute. I don't want to unfold how it all happened from the Tigers' point of view, from the Dogs, everything. Like, that's already been said and done. I just don't look right now, and I don't feel like the Dogs have gotten any better with this signing this year. Moving into the future, for sure. I totally understand it, but at the moment, I feel like it's quite harsh to basically say to your halfback who's got you to top of the ladder after the halfway point of the season that he's surplus to requirements. Yes, he's off contract at the end of the year. It was probably bound to happen anyway. But for this year, it doesn't sit well with me. I don't like it.
But you don't like that. But it's okay for Para to have signed him halfway through. Like at the end of the day, this is
we're coming almost last.
Yeah, but you're happy to. But the point is, right? I get what you're saying, and it's not good because they're going to have to push out Sexton, and that's what's got them to this point. I understand that, but this is the lay of the land. Like at the end of the day, players are allowed to move before June 30. It's as simple as that. What doesn't happen is this. It doesn't happen very often. So when it does happen, people are in shock. And oh my God, the team in first place has made a big balls move and are going to play and are going to go out and try and make themselves better. What's wrong with that? They're allowed to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. So like I don't get it. I don't get that. And the other thing too is I'm constantly hearing from lots of people that they want these transferred. They want the ability for players to get up and leave. They want contracts to be opened a little bit more. But if this is what they want, then off we go. Like we've got to be able to buy into it and just allow this to happen.
So I think you're taking what I've said sort of the wrong way, because if the Eels signed him right now, I would not have said that made us any stronger moving forward. If only he gave us a headache until the end of the year, until Brown left. So I'm not doubting Galvin is a fantastic player, fantastic potential. What I'm arguing and what I think you've looked past a bit is how this shapes the team that's coming first and look like a genuine premiership possibility for the short term. Long term, no doubt Serrato will figure this out. No doubt they've got a plan, and there's been a few comments, and I've heard the similar sort of thing. They're wanting to chase Katoa. There's a plan in place to put Critter back to fullback at some point as well. I've got no doubt when all that happens, they will keep going. But for now, they've messed with something that's clearly working. They've beaten pretty much any team that comes their way, apart from if they're a Queensland team in the wet. They're flying, absolutely flying. The club culture is exactly where it needs to be. Now you've got in a guy who was literally weeks ago called a spoiled brat. Not to be unfair to him, but that was very much the widespread thought about how this was all handled and him whinging about his head coach, things like that. That is what I'm questioning here. The fact that, yep, great player. I just question how it's gone about happening right this second to the premiership favourites.
See, I wouldn't say they're flying. I think you're just looking at the fact that they're on top of the ladder. They got belted by the Bulldogs in the wet. Yep, but that's just what happens. We play a game in. They got belted by the Broncos in the wet. But that we play a game in winter. That's going to happen. They also got belted by the Dolphins in round 12. They just beat the Roosters. They had to do a comeback to beat the Raiders. Like I can't say that they've been absolutely flying. I can foresee that this is a club that's gone, all right, well, we've got away with a few wins. We've gone and done a few things, but we're not playing like we want to. And if we go from there, we've got to start making some moves. At the end of the day, it's about premierships. They're making this move. An opportunity came up. They're making this move. They think this is going to take them to the next tier. I'm not downplaying what you're saying. I understand that, but I also, being a person that likes American sports, where these trades happen at a whim, and it is what it is, and players are commodities and get them out. Like, it's as simple as that. Go through it.
Fair. As I said, I'm not doubting the signing. I don't think it's a bad signing. I'm not saying that. I just think for this year and to mix up and play around with what has got you to the top of the ladder, like, yeah, you pointed out the two losses and stuff, but in my opinion, they're first. They're still first. I know the Raiders have one more win than them, so technically, in my opinion, they are the leaders of this competition purely out of wins. But what they're doing is working, and you can only go off so far what we've seen. And in my opinion, with the Raiders, they've probably been the best team in the competition. So.
And Brent's just touched on it really nicely. Like, young fellas of Galvin's ability don't come on the market all the time. And then with Perth and PNG King coming, you've got to button down the hatches. And if you're a club trying to re-sign any of your half-decent players when they're entering the market, I think this is exactly what it is, right? It's a Bulldogs team that's sitting there going, here's a dude who's got some serious talent. The opportunity's here. We know what's happened. We don't like what's happened and what he did to the Tigers. And we also know that the Tigers weren't fully great with it all. It's a terrible way to explain that, but they weren't awesome in that whole situation either. But, this is what's happened. This is how it's played out. There's a dude who's available. I'm going to take it. And and we shouldn't be like every club would do that. Most clubs would. I mean, there's not too like the Storm wouldn't do it because we don't need that player. There's a few others around, but I see absolutely no problems with what the Bulldogs have done here in terms of the ability to get this guy to come through.
I get the sign. As I said, I get the signing. I totally get it. I just don't like. I think it has mucked up them this year. But anyway, Jake.
No, I'm. Look, you know what? I think we have to wait and see how it pans out. There's no way to know for sure until we see at least 2 or 3 games with him in the side for this year specifically. We'll know if they're off. We'll know real quick whether they're off because of it or not. But until then, it's all speculation, which I know is what our job is and what we're here to do. But for now, that's it. There's not much more to say.
Trav, are you pissed? There's people in the comments asking if you're pissed.
Nope. Absolutely not.
It's not Origin night. He's all good. Look, another concern around the game at the moment is around the draw. I know there was a certain coach, which I'm not going to name because I think it was him trying to find anything he could grab onto to help him save his job at the moment. I'm not going to just grace him with letting people know that it was him and give him any sort of get out clause. What I will say is I've been looking at this for a couple of weeks now and I've not liked it from a number of reasons. One of the reasons I'll point out, which I haven't heard being spoken about yet, is that I think we've killed a couple of our really good arch rivalry sort of games and put him in the middle of Origin, which I don't like. And we've weakened what that showpiece could be. For example, 2 weeks ago, we're seeing the Eels versus Manly without the Origin stars there, which is one of the biggest rivalries in the game. And I just think it was pretty poor that the NRL organised and allowed this to happen. Like, that should be a game where I know you can't guarantee it with injuries and stuff, but you should always be trying to put these sorts of games in their peak sort of times, slots, their dates and stuff like that, and allow this to happen. I really don't understand that side of it. The other point, obviously, with the draw and how it's all happening at the moment, some teams are having short turnarounds and things like that. I think that does end up happening. It's not an excuse. It's unfortunate what happens. The other part I hate is some of these games where teams are versing each other twice in the space of 4 to 6 weeks when some teams haven't had a game against that opposition yet. And like we've said with now the Raiders, the Dogs have had 2 buys. The Raiders have had 0. How do we have teams already getting 2 buys where one team hasn't even had a buy yet? How is that fair? And they talk about, like the RLPA talk about player safety, welfare and things like that. How is that going along with it? How you got one club just going hammer and tong? And to be fair, the Raiders' travel this year has been horrendous as well. How do you have them basically sitting with no buys still to round, what are we now, 14? That is ridiculous. Trav?
Yeah, I think you've just hit the nail on the head, really. I don't have a problem with the turnaround of games and things. That's just the way the structure is. Some games are going to be in Perth. I don't have that issue. That's sports in general. That's going to happen. My issue is exactly what you said as the last point is teams have played twice there was a few teams that played twice in the first 6 rounds of this year. That's ludicrous, man. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't think anyone should play anyone a second time until they played every other team first. And then that's it. I think these buys, I think the buy system's a joke. Like to have with the Storm had the second game as a buy. So they had the first game, then had a buy. Like I don't think any team should have a buy up until about round 10. Or at least until then. I don't think there should be any buys. I think what they should do is they should split the league into 3 parts and then just have each team in those thirds just randomly do a buy in each Origin week. and make it simple. And that's the 3. You're going to get 3 buys. So here it is, 12, 15, and 18. Bang. This pool's going to have the first one. This pool's going to have the second one. This pool's going to have the third one. And that makes it really fair, because even if you do have your origin players, well, it is what it is. We're only missing a couple. Like, it doesn't, I do not understand it. I don't like this at all.
Yeah. Jakey boy.
Yeah, look, in terms of the stuff said about like state of origin affecting players, that specifically, that's a staple of the NRL. Like having state of origin and the way it's set up has been there for a long time. It's tradition, and if teams can't set themselves up to get through those periods, that's kind of on them for me. In terms of the draw setup, I fully agree with you, Trav. Teams should not be like pretty much every team shouldn't be versing each other twice within 6 weeks. Like, it's just that it doesn't make any sense at all. I cannot wait until another team comes into the NRL so that it is like there are no buys in regular rounds. I love when there's no, like, just when there's an even number, no buys during regular rounds, only buys during bye rounds and that type of thing.
But haven't they already said they're going to? They've already said they're still going to keep the buys. They're just going to have 2.
Did they say that? Did they?
Yeah, they've said that there's still going to be every round buys.
Oh, I haven't actually heard that. I must have missed that. Well, I
haven't heard that either.
Sucks.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah.
They've gone out and said that they're not going to, and it's going to end up being.
I don't think that's right, Trav, because the reason they're doing it is before the TV deal. They want that extra game, so they won't be going buys once it's.
But there's going to be 19 teams, isn't there?
Well, for the 19 team, it'll be one team. Obviously, have the buy. But for that year that it's 18, the idea is to go to 20. Obviously, they want that to happen. The years that it is an even number, there won't be buys in that. They want the extra game, at the moment. They are craving it.
Yeah, that's what that's the same for me. Like, I just don't want. I'm sick of buys. I think that typically, like, a lot of other competitions in the world don't have that buy at all. It's just you play every week and that's it. And NRL's been doing it for a long time. They did it for a very long time, for a lot of years, and there was never, even with the buys, because a lot of people might talk about how there's player fatigue and stuff like that. Well, this has been one of the most injury-ridden seasons ever, apparently. So it's not got anything to do with the buy at all. That's just the game speeding up. That's just the game speeding up. That's all that is. So it's got nothing to do with the buy, in my opinion, at all. And I think that I can't wait till that's fixed. Other than that, Other than that, I have no other qualms.
One final thing I'll say on this before moving on is just the simple fact that the NRL is now a multi-billion-dollar company, watched by millions of people around the world, and is flying along the biggest it's ever been. To sit there and continue to blame a Canadian software company for all this, I think is childish and really poor from a management and a business point of view, because in my opinion, they should be being a lot more hands-on with this now, because it is more important than ever for ratings and financial gains, things like that, to get this right. And it's very, very clear that it's got so many flaws. I'm amazed. I'm especially at the time where they're going to start opening up to get their next TV rights deal, which is up in a couple of years, I believe, but the negotiations have started to start. That's hence the reason for announcing Perth when they needed to, things like that. They're in a bit of a predicament at the moment, and they need to really start getting this right, and being a lot more hands-on when it comes to the draw, and to the fact that they should do it themselves and take away from this software company that is just continually got absolutely no idea.
I don't believe that bullshit at all. I just don't get it. I like this whole they're going to blame. So the draw is crap because there's a Canadian software company that makes it, and then they just let it happen, and then they send it out. They don't even read it. Like, that's essentially what it's trying to say, right? That's garbage. They look through it. They know what it is. Like, essentially what they've done is they've just told everyone how freaking stupid they are, because they let this app go and make, or they let this program go and make the draw, and then they read it and go, oh yeah, that's cool, and set it out. Like, that's what all it does is make them look even stupider. So yeah, I don't believe that at all. I
agree. Let's Let's move on. One final thing I've noticed lately is the whole. I just want to talk on this quickly. It's just a bit of a bugbear, and I just have a little idea to see if everyone agrees. Move on. This whole advantage situation, which I feel like has just gotten a bit out of hand as of the last couple of weeks. I've noticed it a lot, where referees are allowing advantage to be very spontaneous in how long it is for. I think we've got to the point where we should just simply say that play that is the advantage should just be a whole play. You can do whatever you want with that play. Encourage a bit of attack, encourage a bit of ball movement, things like that. That lose the ball, whatever, they get to come back and it's play the ball, go from there. It's essentially a free play. I just think don't overcomplicate it, don't confuse it, don't have it so it's a grey area where it depends that the referees are going by time or whatever it is. Just the one play, off we go. Jake?
So in your version of this, let's say, for example, you knock it on, I pick it up, I've thrown this massive cutout to a winger, he's run 90 meters, gets tackled, knocks it on, the other team picks it up. It goes all the way back to where that first knock on was.
Yep.
Well, it's definitely simple. I don't disagree with you. It's definitely simple. I don't disagree with you. Yeah, look, yeah,
well, that's
what's that? Sorry, Trev?
I mean, it makes sense. That is advantage.
Yeah, look, I mean, it would keep it simple. That's the thing for sure. I agree with you, Joel, in the sense that it would keep it so that there's black and white. It's just you have this play. That's it. Done and done. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't know if it's just me. I don't love it in the sense that I don't like if it goes that distance. I think, that should be some sort of advantage played. Like potentially if the distance goes over 50 meters or something like that and they knock it on, then maybe it goes away or something. I don't know. Like that's that. I just don't know if I agree with it just being a full-on free play completely, to be honest.
It just takes the grey out of it, in my opinion.
It does. I do agree with that.
I think if you were to do that, what'll end up happening is, or what you need to then do is be strong on those teams that do those silly penalties to slow the game down, or do those silly penalties to take an advantage, to stop the advantage that they might have. So I think then the umpire or the referees need to be stronger with sin bins, kind of like what happened. I really like what happened with Luai. 3 penalties on the weekend, sin bin, see you later. Like I like that. I think that needs to happen more often. To be fair, I'll watch the Storm boys walk into the sin bin a few more times because we do get away with that a bit. But I just think that rule needs to be a very simple thing. I think that Luai precedent set is a really nice set for what your rule and what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree, and I think sort of Jake's trying to allude it but didn't quite get it across is the same type of thing. I agree with him is that I don't think it should just be one free play and off you go, because it kind of, we know NRL is a build up of the set, right? It's the first tackle. It's, the big hard through the middle, then and depending on the way teams play and what they want to do about shifting the ball, it's actually more than just one play. So if that advantage gets called or what happens through that, I think it needs to be a few more. But I think what Jake's kind of saying at just the start of a set.
Well, it's effectively tackle 0, but it's just a free play in a way. Like if they just get the ball and get tackled and go, oh, we're happy with the field position, we'll just take the ball up, off we go. Just continues their set. It's not like a free play and it's not counted. It's obviously counted as a tackle, but if they make an error or something in that play, it's just go back and pack a scrum or whatever they're going to do, play the ball, go from that.
Yeah, okay. I'd probably need to sit down and actually think around what you've done a little bit more.
I do get it. It definitely takes it. Like I said, it definitely takes the grey out of it. It is just straight up black and white. You have one play, and it does. You're right in the sense, Joel, that it does encourage a bit of excitement. It's like, you know what, stuff it. Kick the corner if you want, or not corner as in kick to your winger, or try to throw this huge cutout ball or whatever you want to do. You've got free range. It would encourage a little bit more excitement in it. I actually don't necessarily hate it. I just think that there's going to be controversy when a team goes 90 meters, gets tackled right at the break or tackled out, and then, oh no, you get to go back and try again. I don't think there's going to be people that would freak out about that if that happened.
Essentially, that's what kind of happens now, anyways. Like the advantage happens. Oh no, that after 1 or 2 tackles. Oh no, there's no advantage. Let's go back to this spot here. Like essentially, that's what's happening now. I kind of like what it is. I don't mind it because, as I said, I think it's a roll-on effect. The game is a roll-on. It's 6 tackles, and a lot of the time, we've got each play is the next set play. It's the next one. It's the next one, and then when that kind of penalty happens, I think the game needs to continue with the advantage. But yeah, like I don't mind it either. I would be cool to see.
Peter, you can take this and run with it. All I'll charge you is just take the League of Inches crew to Vegas next year. That's all we ask for. So if you love my idea, just point it out there. Just an ideas man, guys. Just an ideas man that loves this game. Just doing what I do best. Favorite part of the night, favorite segment of many out there. You've all told us how much you love it. I know these boys love it as well. We've got it up on the screen now because there's too many names. It's getting hectic. It's getting crazy. Hopefully everyone can read that. I'm going to enhance this on my screen, so I can't see any comments coming through, unfortunately. I will come out of it here and there to look back at that because then we need to have the figures approved like we have every week so far. Last week we didn't do it, obviously, with Origin. We are up to the edge back rowers now. The rule is we need to do it by left or right, or just to simplify it, to make it easy, the number on their back is what we're going with. So in a lineup, what number they have on their back is how we are doing this and how we've done it so far. So I have absolutely no idea who went first last time. So I'm hoping one of you boys remember.
It's Jake's, is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Start with the 11. Start with the 11.
Yeah, I'll just go left for now. I want Hudson Young for 550K.
Dreaming.
You're off your head.
Because he's my number one target, and I can tell you, dreaming.
All right. Well, if he's your number one target, then add a value. We might as well just auction from here. Joel, do you want him?
Hudson Young. No.
All right. What do you want him for, Trav?
I'll go 575. Let's play this auction.
Yeah, righto. I'll go 590.
I'll give you 625.
Yeah, I'll go 630.
I'll give you 650.
655.
I'll give you 660.
Oh God, he's definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone here. Yeah, you can have him for that.
Thanks.
How much?
660. I'll take that.
You got him. You got him for 660. That's a win.
Nice work, Trav. Nice.
Now I need to find another one, Joel. If you want to go next.
Yeah,
I've got a big list of them here, if you like, and I've got how much they're all worth.
Actually, that's not a bad shout. You might have to give me that in a second.
Do you have Hamole what he's worth, Trav?
He's worth $1 million. He's worth $1 million a season.
He's not $1 million.
Hold on. 900.
850. 850. I think he's on an $800. I think he's on 800,000.
I'll go Britton Nakora.
Left. Sure. We're doing 600.
Left.
Britton
is 11. What are you talking about?
I swear he normally plays. He used to play on the right. Don't worry. Scratch that. What are you taking him for?
Nakora 600.
610.
Oh, you dog. 625.
630.
Oh. 640.
Yeah, 650.
Oh, fuck's sake. What is it? 650?
650.
655.
660.
You can have him. You can have him. Seriously.
Damn, I can't believe I got Young for 660 if Dicker is 660.
I know that.
So much for that.
All right.
So I think, Joel, I'll give you credit. I had Nicker at 600, so well done for actually starting at a good price. Well done.
I'm an honest man. I'm an honest.
So you get a free hit, kind of.
Yeah, you
kind
do.
of. I need to make.
Well,
it so
kind of. You
that-
still have to hit this. You still have to hit the salary.
Yeah.
Your boy's going to judge my next one.
Are we?
Yes.
I want to go Leka Halasima in my 11. 200.
He was my third on my list, and
I don't hate 200.
I really like it. I had him down at 300. I think he just extended at, I think, and it's like isn't it 1.5 mil for 4 years, 2029? Is that right? I think it's 1. I think he did a 1.5. I think the word is it's 1.5 mil over 4 years. So it's
So you're 300 is fair, Trav?
Well, I would have said, to me it's about 300. Yeah.
I think 300 is fair. I'm okay if you just want to drop it at 300, and then Joel is okay with that.
I was hoping to get a bargain here.
I'd still consider it a bargain.
265. I like what Rob's saying. 265. I've always said we go with the
Yeah, but then you got Brent saying like it's barely above minimum market.
That's why I'm going to 265.
I'll let you have him for 300.
Yeah, 300. You got him done if you want him.
He was on my number 3, and then I got sucked in a buying.
I'll go 300 then.
Good get.
I'll go 300. Jakey boy, number 2. 12.
Now this is where I'm going to be. This is where I'm going to be judged. I have made a mistake with my money. I thought I had $1 million more than I did, which means from now on I will be very, very cheap. I've still got a bit of I had enough money to do what I did with you there on Britain, but okay. So I've gone Dylan Egan. I've gone Dylan Egan from the Dragons as my the second rower. When he's come on, he's played on the right, I believe. Minimum wage, which is 120K. He's only coming from reserve grade this year.
So did Halasima, and I just paid 300.
Yeah, but he hasn't got an upgrade. He's not gotten any contract upgrades at all. He's not got anything recently.
I
so he's still
spent 5 minutes looking on Google Halasima contract upgrade. They have nothing, and I got sucked into 300.
And he's just done his knee, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
But I'm okay with that.
Fair. Absolutely nothing.
There's nothing on Dylan Egan having a contract upgrade either. So I'd say he's still, he's literally still an academy. Yeah, he's academy.
I think you're gonna go more than
150. 150. Bump it up 30K. He hasn't got a contract extension or anything. 150K at least. He hasn't.
Off the basis of like 4 games.
He's played 4 games. That's what I'm saying. He's played like 4 games. He hasn't done anything yet. I'm literally getting someone who's played 4 games in the NRL.
Trav.
Look, we forced Halasima to go up to 300K. I would say 200 and you'd be sweet.
That would stuff me up easy. So what's
the comments are saying up 400.
All right, 200. I'll take it.
Egan 200K.
I might be cooked, boys. I might be cooked. I'm gonna run out of money.
You have to actually make a pick now, Trav.
Yeah. So I'm willing to spend.
Thank you, Josh. I agree.
60.
200K is not the minimum. 120 is, isn't it? We've been going off as if 120 was our minimum, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, we're going off 120 as minimum because otherwise I am over budget and then I'm stuffed.
Jeez, we're all pretty much over budget then.
Oh, I've got 20K left to play with. Anyway.
Yeah, we're all very much so, but we're not worried about we're not worried about 18 to 30. Who cares? I'm just feeling 17.
Yeah, same.
I'm going to go Give me Jeremiah Nanai at 500.
Oh, you're off your head.
Bloke just got
You
dropped. Bloke just got
Yeah,
dropped.
and then he played. Then he played Origin immediately after.
That doesn't change the contract he's on and the value he's worth.
He's worth more if anything because he just played Origin and played Cracker too.
He's not as good as Young, and I got Young at 660.
Oh, wow. Fox Sports, Jeremiah Nanai is the 900,000 per season Cowboys star.
900.
900K he's on.
Zero Tackle has him at 700.
Fox Sports, the 17th of March, 2025, the 900K star who has just been dumped to the Northern Bride.
Interesting, because Zero Tackle I saw had him at 700, and then
So I'm using ChatGPT's like search feature, which it goes through Zero Tackle as its source. It's got him at 775K currently.
Well, I'm telling you, Fox Sports.
Brent's exactly right. Now he knows why Gus uses position.
Yeah, I've heard that Jeremiah Nano is the best player ever to walk the earth. Can I have him for 200K less, please?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I'll meet you at 600 then.
Well,
not going to 600. No.
Again, it's saying 770. He's on 775 at the moment, so I don't think so, mate.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'll take it. I'll let you have him for 750. That's cheaper than his actual current value.
What are you talking about? He's on 900.
He's not. Well, that's not what I'm getting. That's not what I've got.
Well, if I'm going to pay, I'll pay 700 for Katoa.
Eliesi Katoa. I'll just Google that. No, I don't trust your numbers here.
All right, so I've got here in front of me.
Can't find a dollar figure. I reckon he'd be about 750.
So I did look at
I'd
it
argue,
and legitimately had 650 next to him. So I just went straight to 700.
If you're willing to take, I couldn't find anything else. I'm actually okay with 7, to be honest with you.
So I did look, and I'm being honest. I've written down and looked for Eli Katoa at 650, and so I wrote 700.
Rob said 850K he's worth.
No, I didn't see any of that, but I looked.
I think it's closer to 8 and closer to 7, personally.
How about we meet in the middle at 750?
Katoa's current price is 650. He's currently valued at 650.
I see no proof of this.
Yeah, I don't see that anywhere.
I'll pay 700. That's what I looked at. 700 for him.
But I don't know where you're seeing this number.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
I've been looking for weeks. I've been doing all of this research. So
I'm hearing you saying this. Doesn't make it real.
I
just typed in Eli Katoa 650K. Nothing's come up. So
look, if I'm honest with you, I would say 750 at least.
You just said before that you're happy with 700. So.
Well,
750. I've always said in the comments would be what it is, and they're all coming through now. 750.
Like if you're gonna sign him right now, let's be realistic. I think I would pay 750K to sign him based on how good of a player he is. Also, Brent Hampton's completely right. You've got Hudson Young on the left and Katoa on the right, and that is just freaky.
I'm gonna have no one else. The rest of it's just gonna be rookies, but
that's all right, mate. Because you'll have 10 tries on the board. You'll have 10 tries on the board before they get on.
Yeah, right. I'll take him at 750. That's done.
I think it's reasonable for him. He's a freak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's better than Nano. Great call.
I want Bo Firma 600K.
650
he's
minimum.
650. He's 650 at the moment in the NRL.
How do you know that?
Because
I've been
looked
looking at it now for 5 minutes and I can't see anything.
I can tell you now, Bo Firma is 650.
Yeah, I believe the same. That's what I've seen. Hold on. I saw it somewhere.
Courier Mail, 550 thermal.
No,
that
that's
up.
not right.
You've made that up because I've seen multiple sources that said him at 650. That's what I've written down, literally Firmor 650.
This is by the famous Phil Buzz Rothfield. Reveals what every Queensland club's roster is really worth.
Listen to what Rob said. Brent's telling you to get your hand off it. Just pay 650 like we told you to.
Yeah.
You said to go off the comments.
Yeah, no worries then. Fermor 650. I see who the favourite is, boys. That's fine. No worries. Haven't taken it personal at all. All right, get your questions in before we head off. Just quickly, let's do our tips.
What are we doing next time?
Oh, next time we're doing our bench.
All four bench.
Yeah. So what we'll do throughout the week, we're gonna just get the 18 to 30 done. Which majority of that, depending on how we do it, will just be bottom dollar stuff. We'll do that off air because that'll be very, very boring. I don't think people want to see that. We'll come on air next week. I'll show everyone where everything's at. I'll make the teams big and stuff so everyone can actually just see the individual team. And then we'll finalize everything with our 14 to 17 so our bench.
I like it.
So next week will be the finale.
I have no idea what I'm going to do for this 18 to 30 at all, but you know what? We'll see how we go.
Next year, next week will be the last week for this one. And I've had a lot of fun, to be fair. I've actually loved this, and it's a good time with the Bears and obviously PNG. So quickly, the tips: Knights v Manly. Let's just go around in a circle. Trav,
Manly.
Yeah, Jake.
Manly.
Make it 3 for Manly. Storm against the Cowboys. Jake.
Storm.
I'll just go.
I was just going to go around the circle. Storm.
Storm.
I'll go Storm as well. Make that 3. Dolphins, Dragons.
I've got the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm going to go Dolphins as well.
Yeah, I've got the Dolphins in this one at Suncorp. Might go to that game. Sharkies against the Warriors.
You sorry. I've got the Sharks at home.
Oh, I'm so up in the air with this one. I actually love betting. Obviously, in terms of a betting side of thing, bet responsibly. I like the Warriors with the line. I think that's a great value. But I think I'll go tipping wise. I think I'll go the Sharkies just. I'm just not too sure. Broncos v the Titans, Trav.
Broncos.
Jake?
Yeah, I'm going to go Broncos. I don't care how bad they're doing the rest of the Titans.
Yeah, they have to bounce back. Sure. I remember last year Titans pulled their pants down. So hopefully they can bounce back here. Raiders against the Bunnies. Really looking forward to this one.
Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders.
Do not underestimate the Bunnies here. White and Walker both back are huge for the Bunnies, but I think the Raiders will get the chocolates there.
Fog's back. It's a different team.
Yeah, the Foggy's back. The Tigers against the Panthers, the first of the Battle of the Wests that are on this weekend.
Panthers.
Penny Panthers, mate.
Yeah, the Panthers. And the last one, Doggies versus the Eels on the Monday. So shout out to the Monday.
Is it a long weekend in Sydney this week coming?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's that for?
King's birthday.
King's birthday.
Righto. It's funny how we all have different birthdays to celebrate the King. He has multiple birthdays, obviously. The Bulldogs for me.
Jake.
Yeah. I've got to go the Bulldogs. The Eels let me down last week, unfortunately.
Yeah. There is something really trying to push me towards the Eels for this game. I don't know.
Do it.
It's not my heart. It's just really pushing me there. I'll go the Doggies.
Could be the disruption from Gavin, mate. You never know. Go on.
It's to be very, very close. But
I
just in the comments, we did say fire some questions in. Josh has a suggestion. You guys should do the same team picking concept, but for Origin. Set a 20 million salary cap or something. I don't know how that would work. We'd have to look into that. We'll have to do something again, obviously, because this has been a bit of a hit and it's been quite fun to do, to be fair. So we'll look at something to do. We like to break these shows up and have a bit of fun, things like that. So we will go there. But that's it. Huge show. Didn't mean for this to go as long as it did. We got into a lot of discussion and debate over some big topics, which was great to see. And you all in the comments have stayed watching, things like being involved. We really do appreciate that as well. Stick around for the page. We're still going through the mid-season reviews, which will be bombarding things over the next couple of days as well. We are quickly running out of time and a few teams to still get out there. So keep getting around that concept. Those teams, add your comments in, things like that, like, share, all that jazz. A few things working in the background as well to really look forward to as well, which hopefully is announced shortly. So be looking at the socials for that as well. Jake, you look like you have something to say, do you?
No, mate, I'm trying to breathe. I can't breathe because I'm sick. So I'm just sitting here trying to breathe. I'm sorry.
I just keep thinking, I look at you and I'm like, oh shit, I've forgotten something. But that's it. Thank you very much, guys. Wednesday night feels like it's worked out quite well, actually. I'm very happy with what we've had so far. Yeah. Thanks, Trav. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, listeners, viewers, community. Good night.